Good morning, Man Hour Nation. Week NFL season is here, so we got to release the power rankings. We got our top 10 power rankings. This is, might shock some people a little bit. Might shock some people just a tiny little bit. But, of course, we got some news popping around the NFL landscape here, so we got to talk about that first. So cue that intro.
You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that while I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckasher here with the Man Hour. Sure to head over to manhourradio.com. Check out that merchandise page or check out the blog section as well. But most importantly, right now, if you guys are listening to the live stream, whether you love it, whether you hate it, whether you disagree with everything I say, hit that damn like button right now. Hit the like button, hit the heart button, hit some type of button that engages with us and puts it in the you-know-what. But guys, it is Week 11 NFL season. We have to release our power rankings. We have never done a power ranking morning show. We'll see how this goes. Normally it's on Tuesdays, on Tuesday night, but, you know, we're shaking the bird cage a little bit. We're rattling the cage. We're going to see what happens. And spoiler alert, these rankings were made before the most recent news of the NFL world just came out. But first, we got to welcome Jim Powell in the chat. He says, "What's fucking chickens? What's kicking chickens?" Listen, this is like the third time today I've heard something about chickens. My boss early this morning was like, "Hey, I didn't ask you to put socks on chickens." I was like, "What are you talking about? Socks on chickens? What? What? I don't know, man. I don't know, man." It is. John says, "Good morning, y'all. Your man bun too tight today." Man, I don't got no man bun, yo. I got the haircut. Jeez. There's no man bun in there. I got a nice high and tight cut with a little bit of comb on with a nice little hard part across the side. I'm looking sexy as hell, John. My wife would love me to have a man bun. She likes to pony up as she's riding the horse. I'm kidding. But guys, NFL Power Ranking Show is here today, Week 11. We will release the Power Rankings today, but we got to get into some news right now that has kind of, it happened post-show. We were talking about the Buffalo Bills. We were talking about what are they going to do to, you know, shake things up a little bit. And they have officially fired their offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey, after the Monday night loss. They're thinking, hey, Ken Dorsey, you are the reason that Josh Allen is, throwing those interceptions. You are the reason that James Cook cannot hang on to the ball. I mean, obviously, you can't fire Josh Allen. He's getting paid $250 million. You're not going to fire Sean McDermott because why would you fire yourself, right? So, obviously, Ken Dorsey is the fall guy on that. So, when we think about this, guys, is this a right move for the Buffalo Bills? I believe we said yesterday that their season is done. Stick a fork in them. Get them out of town, right? Is this the right move? I think it is. Ever since Ken Dorsey has become, I think he was elevated from the quarterback coach into the offensive of coordinator spot once Brian Daboll left. He has kind of been, suspect. That offense is basically been relied on athletes, right? It says Josh Allen, go make me a play. Stephon Diggs, go make me a play. It's been a very elementary type of offense, right? We've been, not we, but people in general have been dogging the Baltimore Ravens offense and the Pittsburgh Steelers offense the last couple years being elementary. Look at elementary, look at the Buffalo Bills, right? I went back and I watched a lot of film of them trying to justify possibly putting them in the top 10 of the power rankings. Spoiler alert, they're not there. But their offense is very basic. 10-yard out, 5-yard slants, a little bit of hitch and go, sluggo, right? Texas, whatever you want to call it. They have a very, very elementary offense over there in Buffalo. So Ken Dorsey was not the fall guy, John. John says Ken Dorsey was just the fall guy. I mean, I guess you can say he was just the fall guy. Maybe Sean McDermott's trying to save face a little bit here, trying to realize, like, hey, it's his fault. Don't fire me. Don't fire me. It's his fault. I don't know, but Jim says plenty of room for Josh McDaniels now. There is plenty of room for Josh McDaniels, though. As a Josh McDaniels offensive coordinator fan, he is one of the best offensive coordinators in the game. You put him with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, that might make Stephon Diggs happy for about 6 weeks. I don't know. Allen's poor decision trying to force the ball is the issue. Well, if you had better offensive play calling, he wouldn't have to force the ball. He wouldn't have to make play after play after play. He could just sit back and like, boop, boop, boop. But no, the offense is so junior high-ish that you have to like basically be the man, the myth, the legend, and carry it on, right? Next up, guys, Michael Carter II has been cut by the New York Football Jets. He has been cut. Apparently, there was a players-only meeting, and there were some discussions going back and forth, and people were not happy. Michael Carter Jr. ultimately got cut, basically to make room for more carries for Dalvin Cook. I think what it comes down to is Dalvin Cook wanted the ball, and he's getting like paid $9 million a season, and Michael Carter II isn't. But Michael Carter II has officially been cut by the New York Football Jets. I thought he was a very, very good aspect for that team. I thought he was a very good, solid running back for that team. So does a team make a push to get him? Do you think he clears waivers? I don't think so. I think Michael Carter II gets picked up by a team. I think Michael Carter II gets picked up a team by like, I don't know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Maybe the Buffalo Bills. Yes, they do have James Cook. They have Leonard Fournette on the practice squad, but maybe, just maybe, Michael Carter II ends up on a rival team. I think he gets picked up, and I think he gets picked up quickly, but there's some other breaking news across the NFL landscape before we get into our NFL power rankings. But one of the biggest news stories of the day that recently just came out in the last, 30 minutes, right? I was sitting here, I was getting the graphics ready for the power rankings. I was, double checking my list, checking it twice, going to find out who's naughty or nice. And Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson will undergo season-ending shoulder surgery. He has some type of broken bone in his shoulder, and he has opted to have surgery, and that will end his season. Guys, this is huge, huge news coming out of the NFL in the last 30 minutes. This is the biggest news that could shake up my power rankings. Like, spoiler alert, my power rankings were made last night, so this was before the Deshaun Watson news came out. So when you see the Cleveland Browns as a top 4 team, slow it down, baby. Understand, I thought Deshaun Watson was still in there, right? But how big of news is this for the Cleveland Browns? Deshaun Watson seemed to be getting better each and every week. The Cleveland Browns defense has performing lights out each and every week. Not only do you lose Nick Chubb a few weeks ago to a season-ending injury, now you're losing your starting quarterback to a season-ending injury. Do the Browns have any legs to stand on moving forward? Obviously, right now, they thought DTR was possibly a good stopgap guy for Deshaun Watson. When he came in, was it week 3, week 4? He was not the guy. He looked terrible. PJ Walker was in there. He won a couple games. I believe they beat the 49ers with PJ Walker, right? PJ Walker could possibly lead them to the playoffs. I don't know. But with PJ Walker as the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, they are not going to win the AFC North. They are not going to make noise in the playoffs like we thought we would. That we were just talking about yesterday. We were literally just talking yesterday about how good the Cleveland Browns were. We were literally talking about how great, how explosive the Cleveland Browns were. And then not even 24 hours later, actually right about 24 hours later, we get the news that smacks us in the face and said, oh, Deshaun Watson's out for the season. What? Good Lord. Jim out there in the chat, always with the greatest comments of the day. Toxic. If you guys want toxic, Jim Powell has all the toxic comments. He says, can't he just rub it out? just rub it out. Rub it out. John says, nope. The Cleveland Browns are not winning the North now. They're not going to make a deep playoff run. Hell, they may not even win another game. They exploded. John, when you say they exploded, what do you mean by that? They exploded as in like a good explosion, like, whoa, we exploding off the map, baby. We are going to the north. We're going to the moon. Or explode like, oh shit, what's going on? Hoffy comes in and says the Bengals will win the North now. Ooh, let's sit down and talk about the North a little bit. Let's talk about the North. Right now, the Bengals are sitting at 5-5, Hoffy. They are 5-5, and they are in last place in the division. How realistic is the Bengals to come back from a 3-game deficit behind the Baltimore Ravens? Because I do believe they lost the head-to-head game earlier this season, right? Yes, so they lost the head-to-head game earlier this season. Actually, no, they haven't. So the Bengals did lose to the Ravens head-to-head week 2, right? So they are 2.5 games behind the Ravens right now in the standings. Yes, the Ravens do have a tough schedule. Cincinnati Bengals have a favorable schedule. I will give you that. But look out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We didn't talk a lot about the Pittsburgh Steelers last night, but they are a team that you don't know what's going to happen. I saw the perfect meme out there, right? It was a picture of Tiger Woods and John Daly, right? Smoking the cigar and drinking the whiskey. John Daly was the Pittsburgh Steelers at 6-3, and the other team was like the other team was Tiger Woods at 6-3. Nice and clean cut, and the other one's just like sloppy and like, yeah, whatever. We here. John says no. They are exploding internally, so they are imploding. How are the Browns imploding? I mean, if you want to call imploding injuries, sure, but I don't see any inner fighting with the Browns. We don't see anybody getting arrested. Sorry, Michael Thomas. Zay Flowers, right? We don't see anybody really getting in a lot of trouble. So when you say they're imploding or exploding internally, as your words are, I don't see it. I don't see it. John says, as far as the Cincinnati Bengals win the North is all about Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon. No, it is not. It is all about how bad the Ravens are the next couple weeks. It is all about how bad the Ravens suck in December. It's all about how bad the Ravens suck in January. That is what it comes down to. That is what it ultimately comes down to. Jim says this really only matters if you're a Browns fan. The Steelers are coming in hot, on wings on fire, only half landing gear. But hey, as long as you land the plane, I don't care if the other half is there or not, right? Just land the plane and win me some games, baby, right? Yepers, injuries. All right, guys, so we're about 15 minutes into the show. I've been stalling long enough. I've been giving you guys a little bit of this and a little bit of that, giving you some breaking news. We have Deshaun Watson out for the season. Michael Carter II has been officially cut. Ken Dorsey has been fired. Lamar Jackson is pissed because he can't throw the deep ball. Oh, wait. We didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about how pissed off Lamar Jackson is because he can't throw the ball deep. Lamar Jackson, where's this pissed off attitude the last couple seasons? Where was this last, throwing the deep ball your rookie year, your sophomore year, your junior year? What is the big deal? Also, Dallas linebackers Vander Esch will not return this season. He'll be out for the rest of the season. So Vander Esch is out as well. But guys, it is time. It is time to get into the Week 11 NFL Power Rankings. The NFL Power Rankings, guys, are basically, they are arbitrary, right? It is all about what have you done for me, and then you have to sprinkle in a little bit about what are you going to do for me next week, right? So when I look at these power rankings, guys, I give you guys top 10 teams. I'm giving you teams that are, that I think are playing really, really good football and are going to continue to play good football. And this first team up, this first team up has not won one game in a row. Hoffy, they have not won 2 games in a row. They have not won 3 games in a row, but 5 games in a row. This team has beaten the Chicago Bears. They've beaten the San Francisco 49ers. They've beaten the Green Bay Packers. They've beaten the Atlanta Falcons. They've beaten the Saints, and they're going to beat the Broncos and the Bears and the Raiders the next 3 weeks. And that's right. That is the Minnesota Vikings. Coming in at number 10 on my Week 11 NFL Power Rankings are the Minnesota Vikings. They're sitting at 6-4 right now, squarely second in the NFC North on a 5-game winning streak. They could stretch out to 8 games in the next 3 weeks, and they're going to be squarely in the playoffs, and the Minnesota Vikings are a top 10 NFL team right now. Guess what? With the third-string quarterback, without Justin Jefferson, they're only going to get better. Josh Jacobs is only going to get better learning that offense. When Justin Jefferson comes back, that offense is going to be a lot more explosive. Hoffy, what are your first initial thoughts of me putting the Minnesota Vikings at number 10? Yeah, they started off 1-5. Yeah, 1-4. No. Yeah, so guys, right now I do have the Minnesota Vikings sitting in at number 10. Jay, he says, and they'll get swept by the Detroit Lions. I don't think so. I do not think the Minnesota Vikings will get swept by the Detroit Lions. Now, for the Vikings to win the division, they would have to sweep the Lions. I don't see that happening, but I feel like the Vikings are clicking at the right time. They are getting hot. They got 3 kind of cupcake games moving forward, and then they play the Bengals and then the Lions at home on Christmas Eve. Look out, baby. Jay, you as a Detroit Lions fan, you should be scared right now. You should be very, very scared. Very, very scared. And then Jim says, Josh Hobbs is the new Jesus. I wouldn't go that far, but he is pretty good. But, well, I don't think he can grow hair. I think he has that disease where he literally can't grow hair because he has like no eyebrows. Yeah. So, but he is he is like a rocket scientist. So that helps. The next team up, sitting at number 9. Hoffy, this team is a team that nobody expected to be here. Not winning 5 games this season is very, very stretched for them, right? Many people had them maybe 3-4 wins top, maybe another top pick. rookie quarterback, rookie head coach, the number 2 and number 3 overall pick in this year's NFL or last year's NFL draft. Coming in at number 9 is the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans are sitting at 5-4 right now, second place in the AFC South behind the Jacksonville Jaguars by 1 game. Oh, by the way, they got that head-to-head win. And they've had 2 game-winning drives versus the Cincinnati Bengals and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. C.J. Stroud is playing out of his mind. DeMeco Ryans is coaching out of his mind. And the Houston Texans might win 4 or 5 more games to finish out this 7-game stretch, the 7 games left that they have in the NFL season. And they are probably going to be a playoff team. Coming in at number 9, Hoffy, I do have the Houston Texans. What are your thoughts on that?
And yards per game, and then the touchdown to interception ratio. I had created a post earlier this week. That's the first time, one of 4 quarterbacks that have done that besides Tom Brady, your boy Mahomes, and Peyton Manning. So, they could potentially have an MVP, not only just the rookie of the year in C.J. Stroud, and they're playing pretty well. They might even take the AFC South and knock off the Jaguars. So, yeah, I like that pick.
Yeah, and they do play the Jaguars head-to-head in 2 weeks at Houston after they did beat them earlier this season. And Jim Powell says, are you on mute? Yes, he was on mute. I actually did unmute Hoffy, so that is my fault on that. But you are good to go now, Hoffy. But then Jim says, AOC is as good as C.J. Stroud. Get out of here with that. Adrian O'Connell has to put it up. When the Raiders play, I don't know who they are to play this week. He doesn't suck, but he's not no CJ Stroud. Right?
He sucks just because of the fact that he's got the world's worst freaking mustache.
And he drives a white van to work every day. But Jay says Stroud is looking pretty good. Number 9 is fair. Okay, Jay. I am glad we are on the same page, Jay. I really like that. Because, Jay's a very, very smart individual there, Hoffy, and he always has very hard critics of my NFL power rankings here. But coming in at number 8, this is a team that we just heard news about, right? This is a team that we just heard that their quarterback will be out for the entire season with shoulder surgery. This is a team that has won 4 of their last 5 games, and that is the Cleveland Browns. Coming in at number 8 are the Cleveland Browns. They have wins over the Ravens, Cardinals, Colts, and 49ers in their last 5 weeks with the loss to the Seattle Seahawks at Seattle. So as of right now, they are at number 8. Like I said, Hoffy, this was before Deshaun Watson injury came out. He will not play for the rest of the season. And if I had that news before I made these power rankings, I feel like you'd still have to put the Cleveland Browns at number 8 because the way of their defense is performing. They are a very, very good defensive team right now, and they could win a Super Bowl solely on their defense of ability as long as P.J. Walker does not F it up. Coming in at number 8 are the Cleveland Browns. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I like it. Defense wins championships. Number 6 ranked defense in scoring, number 7 in rush defense, number 1 in pass, and number 1 overall defense. Their offense hasn't really blown anyone away, but when your defense is, teams like San Francisco and they've played some pretty good caliber teams and they've completely just shut them down. So, playoff football, it's cold in January. So, that defense is going to travel. So I like that pick.
Yeah, that is the good thing about having a good defense is it does travel well over the pond to New York. Oh, never mind. The Buffalo Bills won't even make the playoffs, so we don't have to travel to New York.
I thought you were talking about the Jets.
But Jim says Ford runs. Not usual for a Ford. Listen, I work for Ford, Jim. Our Fords run really, really well when they go off the line, but once they go out on the field, go out in the road, that's the user's problem. They run fine coming out of the shop, right? Actually, I could care less. I work IT, so whatever. I actually drive a Toyota every day to work and park it right out front of the Ford place, but it is what it is. Jay says, does C.J. Stroud break the Ohio State quarterback curse because Field ain't it? is there really a let's get in this tomorrow, because I want to dive deep into the quarterback curse thing, right? Or the quarterback you type of thing. But just to recap so far, coming in at number 10, we do have the Minnesota Vikings. Number 9, we do have the Houston Texans. Number 8, we have the Cleveland Browns. And coming in at number 7, we have the Miami Dolphins. I was looking for every reason not to put the Miami Dolphins in the top 10. Sorry, Hoffy. Sorry, Arthur Brown. But for whatever reason, your Miami Dolphins do not like to play good against good teams. They beat down bad teams, and they look really, really good when they play the Chargers and the Broncos and the Patriots and the Giants and the Panthers. But when they play the Eagles and the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, I guess you can put the Buffalo Bills, that's a bit like as a bad team. But right now, I have no faith in the Miami Dolphins moving forward. Yes, they'll probably beat the Raiders. Yes, they'll beat the Jets. And they do have a easy slate of games moving forward, right? But then they play the Cowboys and the Ravens and the Buffalo Bills again, week 16, 17, 18. So we'll see really how good they are then. But right now at number 7, I do have the Miami Dolphins. I don't have faith in them to be a top 5, top 3 team like a lot of people have them. What are your first initial thoughts, Hafi?
I agree with you. I mean, I'd like to see, my Patriots, I've known from the beginning we're going to absolutely suck. So I was riding with the Dolphins. I'd rather not see the Jills, win the division, make the playoffs, any of that stuff. Tua has he started hot. He's been all right, but I mean, if you're going to be an elite quarterback, you got to beat, good teams, and they haven't beat the good teams. Jalen Ramsey has come back and he's played pretty well, so hopefully he'll elevate that defense. But that defense has been pretty suspect, and the offense hasn't been blowing people away the way they were at the beginning of the year, provided that, the beginning of the year they were playing a lot of, easy games. So
say it,
cupcakes, if you want to call it that. So, yeah, I agree with you. They probably shouldn't be any higher than this, and I wouldn't have argued if you had them at 9 or 10 or even the 8 spot. But
yeah,
we'll see.
I feel like the loss to the Kansas City Chiefs really maybe checked them a little bit. Maybe I'm looking for it, because the first half they were terrible against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now the second half they did come out and they battled, right? Or the Kansas City Chiefs just didn't play. Either way you want to look at it, but it is what it is. John says number 7. Wow. Is that a good wow, John, or a bad wow? I'm kind of curious. Like wow or wow. Laura's in the chat. She says Skull. Laura, you just missed about your Minnesota Vikings sitting at number 10. But Jim says we will see what they are made of this week when the Miami Dolphins play the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't think the Raiders are a very good measuring stick, but hey, new team, new culture. They still got that cigar smell on their jerseys and helmets and stuff. Maybe, just maybe. Maybe Tua
if this was the University of Miami versus Las Vegas.
Maybe Tua is allergic to cigar smell, and Max Crosby helmet stinks so bad, like when he sacks him, he starts having like compulsions and like needs the EpiPen, right? Was that wrong to say?
Might be a little too soon.
Made too soon. But just to recap here, coming in at number 10, we do have the Minnesota Vikings. Number 9, the Houston Texans. Number 8, the Cleveland Browns. Sitting at number 7 are the Miami Dolphins. And coming in at number 6 are the Baltimore Ravens, fresh off another fourth quarter collapse to the Cleveland Browns. They were up 17 points with 9 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, and they lost the game 33-31. Now, I do think the Baltimore Ravens were playing very, very well the first half of the season, but we talked about it yesterday. They kind of have a gauntlet of a schedule moving forward. Now, we were going to really see what the Baltimore Ravens are made of when they play the Bengals on Thursday Night Football tomorrow. We're going to see what they're made of when they play the Chargers and the Jaguars and the 49ers and the Dolphins. We are going to really see the true colors of the Baltimore Ravens moving forward. So right now I have them sitting outside of the top 5 because of the loss to the Cleveland Browns and their performance coming into December. They are historically a bad December and January team, and Lamar Jackson's stats literally get cut in half. And Lamar Jackson's pissed off that he can't throw the deep ball right now. Hoffy, what are your first initial thoughts of the Ravens sitting at number 6?
I think that's right where they belong, but after they lose tomorrow to the Bengals and fall to 7-4, at that point the Bengals would be 6-4. The Ravens haven't had their bye yet, so at that point the Bengals will be one game back of them. Like I said, I know the Bengals are at the bottom of the division, but I still think you got to look out for them. So I don't doubt that after they get waxed by the Bengals tomorrow night, they're out of the top 10.
Oh, so you are predicting that the Bengals come into Baltimore, Maryland, and wax that ass, huh?
Yes, sir.
We will see it. We will see it. All right, so this next team coming up, Hoffy, we're getting ready to crack the top 5. This next team is a team that everybody loves to hate. I believe there are more haters of this team than there are actual fans of this team. But this team is sitting at 6-3. Not only did they win last week, they beat down the New York Football Giants. And that is the one and only Dallas Cowboys coming in at number 5. They have won 3 of their last 4. Their only loss coming on the road to the Philadelphia Eagles, one of the best teams in the NFL. But they got the Panthers, Commanders, and Seahawks coming up next, and I don't see them skipping any beat whatsoever. But coming in at number 5 are the Dallas Cowboys and their MVP caliber quarterback, Dak Prescott. Hoffy, what do you thought?
You had me up until you said MVP caliber quarterback.
Dak Prescott is playing out of his mind right now. Dak Prescott is playing like Geno Smith did last year. Crazy, crazy good.
I don't see it as I don't think, he's not winning the MVP. But, I mean, every team's going to eventually have a letdown. We'll definitely call that Arizona Cardinals game a letdown. Their two actual losses besides the letdown are against the Eagles that are 8-1 and the 49ers. At the time, the 49ers were undefeated. They had a little, hiccup in the middle of the road there, but I mean, those are 2 really good teams. So yeah, I do, as much as I want to hate on the Cowgirls, I do think that they are in that top 5. So I like that position. We'll see though.
Yeah, and the one thing that I discourage about when people if you want to piss people off on the Facebook page, Hoffy, some people put Cowboys and Super Bowl in the same sentence. They don't even have to be next to each other. They just got to be in the same sentence, and people will go crazy. But right now, guys, the Dallas Cowboys are a Super Bowl caliber team. It is not my fault that they played the Giants twice, one of the worst teams in the NFL. It's not my fault that they play the Chargers, arguably a team that underperforms each and every week. It's not my fault that they played the Jets and they happen to lose Aaron Rodgers' second or third play of the game. The Dallas Cowboys are a really, really, really good team. Laura says Cowgirls need to sit down. Sit down and know your role, jabroni, says Laura. Whoa.
They're absolutely right now the best wild card because they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna win their division. I think that's the Eagles to win, but they are 100% the best wild card team in both the AFC and the NFC. So, we'll see what kind of noise they make, where they fall in that schedule on the playoffs. The Eagles are probably going to get that 1 seed. Mm-hmm. So, are they going to be? They'll probably win that week 1 game, and then that's gonna, in the playoffs, that's gonna set them up probably to play, the 49ers. So we might have a rematch of that game, and it'll be
the Cowboys will probably get the 5th seed, the 5th and the wild card seed. So therefore, they'll play the 4th seed, and the 4th seed will probably be the NFC South Division champion. So it's either going to be the Falcons, Saints, or Bucks, all teams that they're going to probably wax that axe with. So,
well, that'll be week 1,
right,
of the playoffs. I'm talking in the second week of the playoffs.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So
yeah, they'll like I said, they'll easily win the first week of the playoffs. And then that second week, we'll see. Yeah. But, anything can happen in the playoffs. But I'm thinking it's going to be a rematch in Candlestick. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I know it's not Candlestick anymore, but I'll forever call it Candlestick.
Yeah.
But Levi Stadium. But, I think they'll show up. I think it'll be a much better game. And if they can get through that game, then, we might have an NFC East showdown.
Yeah, Zeke will not be at center in that game, so that is a good thing. Jim says, I talked to Wayne G like a little bit on the NFL talk page. I hate how the power rankings do not take record into higher percentage of the rank. Listen, wins and losses are kind of arbitrary, right? Sometimes you have to use your eye test, Jim. You have to watch the game, right? If you look at the Minnesota Vikings, what they're sitting at, what was it? 6-4, right? If you simply look at the record, there are 10 teams better than them record-wise. But right now, Jim, the Minnesota Vikings are playing really, really, really good football. The Cleveland Browns are playing really, really, really good football. Hell, if you want to take one step further, the Denver Broncos have 3 wins in a row over the Buffalo Bills. I forget who who they played last week. And then they have wins over the Kansas City Chiefs. You could argue that the Denver Broncos are one of the top 10 teams in the NFL as well right now, performing-wise. Record-wise, they're freaking terrible, right? No way whatsoever are they going to make the playoffs or the Super Bowl. But right now, 3 wins in a row over the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, and whoever they played in between that. They are a good team right now. So I don't know. John says, wait till the playoffs. They are usually the first one to sit your ass down in the room. The last time the Cowboys made the playoffs, the last 2 seasons the Cowboys have made the playoffs, they won their first round game. They beat the Buccaneers a couple years ago, and then last year they played the 49ers in the division championship round. I forget who they played in the first round.
Bucks.
Was it so they played Bucks twice back to back?
Yep, they retired Tom Brady.
Yeah, so there you go. Like the Cowboys are no slouches anymore. Jim says they keep winning. How is the record not the eye test? Because look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. We have not talked about the Jacksonville Jaguars yet, have we? Because they're not a top 10 team. My eye test tells me that the Jacksonville Jaguars are not a very good team. They're 7-3, right, Hoffy? Their record-wise puts them in the top 5 easily, right?
6-3.
6-3. Easily a top 5 team, record-wise. Look at the eye test. They're not a good team. Not a good team. But
they can't win at home, and if they win their division, they got a home playoff game. So they'll be one and done.
Probably. Because they don't play very good in Jacksonville because that's shitty-ass stadium in their little Mexican little owner, whatever his name is. Ozard. Too soon. All right. So coming in at number 4, this team went on a 3-game losing streak. This team had a bye week, and they said, you know what? Our bye week came at the perfect time. Brock Purdy's struggling. Debo's hurt. Christian McCaffrey's hurt. Let's go to Jacksonville and make them our baby back bitches. And coming in at number 4 are the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, the 49ers did go on a 3-game losing streak, losing to the Cleveland Browns. Guess what? A top 10 team. Losing to the Minnesota Vikings. Guess what? A top 10 team. Losing to the Cincinnati Bengals. Guess what? A team that's getting hot at the right time. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they beat them at the time, was a top 10 team. The San Francisco 49ers are one of the best teams in the NFL. There's a team, there might be 3 teams in the NFL if I am the Kansas City Chiefs that I do not want to play. And that is the Philadelphia Eagles, the Detroit Lions, and the San Francisco 49ers. But coming in at number 4, Hoffy, I do have the San Francisco 49ers. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they were clicking on all cylinders coming out of that bye week. Let's see if they can continue to roll that through. You know, they're second in points per game. They're fourth in rushing yards allowed per game. It seems like they're getting healthy again. Like I said, they're clicking on all cylinders. They absolutely beat down, the AFC South winning, division leaders in Jacksonville. Every team in the at some point in the season is going to have their struggles. Hopefully they kind of learn from that. They've, patched up those holes that some of those top 10 teams exploited. and we'll see if come playoff time that they're there in that NFC Championship game, and we'll see.
Yeah, basically right now it all relies on their head coach of Kyle Shanahan. It doesn't rely on Brandon Ayuk. It doesn't rely on Deebo Samuel or Brock Purdy. It's all coaching. Can they coach themselves out of a wet paper sack when it comes down to? But just to recap here, Hoffy, coming in at number 10, we do have the Vikings. 9, we do have the Houston Texans. At number 8, we have the Cleveland Browns. Number 7, we have the Miami Dolphins. Coming in at 6, we have the Baltimore Ravens. Cracking into the top 5, we have the Dallas Cowboys. Coming in at 4, we have the San Francisco 49ers. And then coming in at number 3, we have the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are one of the teams that I do not want to play in the playoffs. This is one of the teams that I am kind of like, man, are they one of the best teams in the NFL? Right now, they're sitting at 7-2. 3 weeks ago, they got beat down by the Ravens, but since then, they've had wins versus the Raiders, wins versus the Chargers, and they're going to beat the Bears, Packers, and Saints, and Bears, and Broncos, Vikings moving forward. Guys, the Detroit Lions are getting ready to go on a 6-7 game winning streak, and I don't think anybody can stop them besides the Dallas Cowboys week 17 when the game doesn't really matter for either team. But coming in at number 3, Jay, I got your Detroit Lions. Hoffy, what do you think?
I like it. I believe that's kind of right where they are. I think the teams that you're going to have ahead of them are more deserving of that top 3 spot, or higher. So yeah, I agree with that assessment.
Yeah. So obviously next week when we do have the top 2 teams in the Philadelphia Eagles coming in at number 2 and the Kansas City Chiefs coming in at number 1 when they battle on Monday Night Football, arguably the Lions are going to basically slide up into a number 2, if not a number 1 position there. But just like I said there, at number 2, I do have the Philadelphia Eagles sitting at 8-1, behind the Kansas City Chiefs sitting at number 1. What are your thoughts about my top 2? What are your thoughts about the top 2?
You're not going to... Okay, so you have who at number 1? The Chiefs?
At number 1, the Eagles at number 2.
I like it. I mean, the Chiefs are what, 7-2?
Yes.
That's right where they were this time last year, and we all know what happened, last year. So I think you have one of those, a result of that hanging over your left shoulder there. So yeah, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I think as long as the Chiefs are, in that, upper echelon of a record, then you got to really give that to them. I mean, they got Pat Mahomes, they got Travis Kelce. The Eagles, yeah, they have a better record, but at the same time, the Eagles have, they played pretty poorly against Patriots. They've had some games that they squeaked out. Both games against the Commanders where they struggled to win. So I feel like I understand that the Broncos beat your Kansas City Chiefs, divisional game. There's hiccups that are going to happen during the season, but the Chiefs have put away teams that they should put away. I feel like the Eagles have more so played to their competition. Both still really good teams, but yeah, I give the nod to the Chiefs. If they go head to head, I think the Chiefs win that game.
Yeah, we'll see that Monday night when they
go head to head. We'll say
when the Eagles come to Arrowhead. But you were talking about the Denver Broncos. I just said it. The Denver Broncos are probably one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. The last 3 games, 3 wins in a row over the Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, and whoever they played. I should probably look and see who they played in between there. I'm not a huge Broncos fan or follower. So they beat the Packers, Chiefs, and Bills in the last 3 weeks, all really, really good wins. So, I mean, the Broncos are not a terrible team. And Jim says there is no freaking way that an 8-1 team does not get number 1. Yes, there is. Because the Philadelphia Eagles have not looked that dominant, right? When you look at, hell, I could argue that they are a number 4 team, right? Just because when the Eagles wins, they just squeak by, right? When the 49ers win, they dominate. There is no doubt in your mind that the 49ers are going to lose that game. When the Lions win, there are no doubt the Lions are going to win that game. The Eagles have just been kind of just playing just good enough to get by. They're like me in high school, doing enough work just to get by, right? D gets diplomas, and right now, that is what the Philadelphia Eagles are doing. They're playing D to C football. We have not seen a, quote, a dominant Philadelphia Eagles team all season long. And at some point, Hoffy, that's going to come back and bite them. And it may not be against the Kansas City Chiefs. It may not be against the New York Giants. But it is going to come back and bite them in the worst time, maybe versus the Dallas Cowboys, maybe in the playoffs. Hell, maybe when they play the Seahawks. At some point, it's going to come back and bite them, and it's going to be a very, very embarrassing for the Philadelphia Eagles moving forward. Any input on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what I had said. I mean, they beat the Commanders by 7 points. They beat the Dolphins by 14. And that was a home game. The Chiefs beat the Dolphins in a neutral site game by 7. So I mean, put that in Arrowhead, and I think they would have blown out the Dolphins. They only beat they beat the Cowboys by 5 in Dallas. I mean, in Philadelphia, and Dallas was on the 1 yard line from winning that game. So I mean, they've had some games that they could have very easily lost. That game being one of them. The Patriots game, they got lucky at that last drive. The guy caught the ball, but he didn't remember that this is not college and you need to get 2 feet in bounds. I mean,
right.
They've looked pretty suspect in a lot of their games.
Yeah, so Jay has a question for us. Bruce Irvin has been picked up by the Detroit Lions. I think it was earlier this week they signed him off of waivers, but he wants to know. I want to know what y'all think about the Lions picking up Bruce Irvin to help him with that pass rush. In a limited role, he could excel. Listen, Bruce Irvin, I think, is 35 years old. He has played with the Seahawks, the Chicago Bears, the Carolina Panthers, the Raiders, and the Seahawks again. He is, there's a reason why he was no longer on a NFL team this season. There was a reason why a 35-year-old that could, quote, excel in a limited role was not picked up by the Seahawks earlier this season when the Seahawks made trades. I think the Seahawks picked up 2 or 3 defensive linemen right before the trade deadline there. So I don't think that Bruce Irvin is going to be a game changer for you, because who do you take out at that particular point? Are you going to take out Adrian Hutchinson? No. Are you going to take out the other rookie that you guys just picked up? His name slipped in my mind on the defensive side of the ball. No. Like, who are you going to sub out to put Bruce Irvin in there? Like, Jack Campbell? Are you going to line him up as a will linebacker and bring him off the edge? Like, I just don't see how he will excel. Hoffy, any thoughts on that?
I mean, you're going to have to hire him a babysitter because he can't keep himself out of trouble, and he needs to be babysat at all times. I mean, hopefully he doesn't lose his temper on the field and punch an opposing player again like he did in the Super Bowl against the Patriots and get himself ejected. But I mean, I guess that's right there with the mentality of Dan Campbell biting off kneecaps and such. So, we'll see. But hopefully he doesn't take that literally and actually try and bite someone's kneecap off, because if there's one person that's going to do it, it's probably him.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he get in trouble for like strangling his girlfriend like a couple years ago?
Yeah, that's why I said he's got to literally have someone babysitting him.
Do we got a phone call coming in?
Didn't he get in trouble
Hello?
for like strangling his girlfriend like a couple years ago?
Yeah, that's why I said he's got to literally have someone babysitting him. Can you hear me?
Got a phone call coming in? Didn't he get in trouble for like strangling
Hello?
his girlfriend like a couple
Hey,
Hello?
Hoffy, it sounds like you got
Hey.
Facebook open on your
Got to
phone.
literally have someone babysitting them.
They do, not me.
Oh,
Hello?
hey,
Can you hear us?
Hello?
Hey, I'm going to need you to mute the live stream, buddy.
Facebook's open.
You got to mute Facebook.
I got you, Hoppy.
All right, go ahead.
Man, I don't understand how you guys can put the Chiefs above the Lions when the Lions beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead.
That was week 1. That was without Travis Kelce. That was without Chris Jones. So are you telling me that a week 1 win over the Kansas City Chiefs is going to...
It happened, though, Buck.
It did happen. You are right. It did happen. But guess what? I had the Detroit Lions over the Baltimore Ravens, and didn't the Ravens beat down the Lions? What was it, like 38-3? So no comment about that though, right? It is only beneficial if it helps your Detroit Lions, right?
Lions are going to the show, Buck. Face it.
Hey, I'm going to need you to mute your live stream or exit the live stream, so because we're getting like a bad echo happening.
Lions are going to the show, Buck. Face it.
Coffee in the car.
I would like to see the Chiefs and the
Yeah, I'm
Lions in
kind
the
of
Super
standing
Bowl
close
again.
to the computer. How about now?
There we go. There we go. Now we can hear you.
I would like to see a week 1 rematch because I don't think it would go the same way. I think it would be a pretty ugly game, and I don't think it would benefit your Lions, unfortunately.
Well, if it was in Detroit, it would.
Okay, so who? First of all, what is your name? Like, who are we talking to?
Yeah, play them on Turkey Day.
Who are we talking to? Is it Jay?
Well, I'm getting a whole bunch of backfeed here.
All right, Hoffy, have them call back, or you call them back.
All right, I'll call you back.
So,
All right, there we go.
okay,
Oh, he's with us.
okay. What is your name?
Yeah, I was getting a bunch of feedback earlier.
All right, what is your name?
My name is John Peebles.
Oh, John Peoples. What is your name? So, John,
Hey, how'd
you
you do
think
head-to-head with Hoffy this week?
Yeah, well, I lost because I followed XD Gamer.
so? You think
Right.
if the
Lawrence
Kansas City
was
Chiefs
looking good, and San Francisco wasn't looking so good. It is what it is.
It is what it is. One game does not decide the outcome when you get beat by four games there, John. But John is saying that if
No
the
guts,
Kansas
no
City Chiefs
glory.
play the Detroit Lions at home in the Super Bowl, that the Lions will win. Well, I'm pretty sure that the Super Bowl is in Vegas this year, Hoffy, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Oh, yeah, I'll
and
be there.
The Kansas City Chiefs have never
I'd be there
lost in
too.
Vegas.
I'll
So-
just be there for work, so it's a free trip to the Super Bowl for me.
Oh, is he selling peanuts or what?
No, I'm selling wood-fired pizza ovens.
for now.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, it happens to be the pizza expo that week, so I'll be there.
Right on. Good for you. Shit.
All right, so
Wish I could. I can imagine what those tickets are going to be, especially in Elegant Stadium.
well, I can tell you for the Kansas
It
City
is in
Chiefs games, they're going to
Vegas,
be
isn't it?
free. They'll be going, baby.
Oh Jesus, for the Chiefs, it's free. Oh boy.
So John, you think the Lions should be number one because they beat the Kansas City Chiefs week 1? Is that what you're saying?
So, John, you think the Lions should be number 1 because they beat Kansas City Chiefs?
This week, yeah.
Jesus, this guy. All right, John, we're going to let you go, man. But you are
This
wrong.
week, yes.
You are wrong. 100% wrong.
Chiefs should be number 3.
Jason Wright says the Lions are not
Love the
number
show,
1.
guys.
All right,
Have a
thanks,
good one,
man.
Sean.
I appreciate the call, guys. If you guys are interested in calling into the show, jump in there and talk your shit. The phone number is 434-468-1234. Jason Wright is popping into the chat here, and he agrees with me. He says the Lions are not a number 1 team. They are not like the Lions are a good team. Don't try to twist those words, Hoffy. Don't try to throw spaghetti at the wall and get it all intertwined. The Lions are not number 1. Number 1 are the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 2 are the Philadelphia Eagles. Then coming in at number 3 are the Detroit Lions. Hoffy, are there any legs to stand on that the Lions should be number 1?
No, absolutely not. They just got absolutely beat down by the Ravens,
2
and the
weeks ago.
Ravens are not. Yeah, and where did you have the Ravens? Were they 5 or 6?
Number 6.
Yeah. So they got beat down by number 6. The Chiefs have not been beat down by anyone. They lost to the Broncos, and that was is that a Sunday game?
What game was that? I'm sorry.
The Chiefs, when they lost to the Broncos, that was...
Oh, that was a Thursday game, wasn't it? The Thursday night game, I thought. No. So, that was a Sunday afternoon game because they played the Broncos the Thursday, and then they played, like, the Chargers the next week, and then they played the Broncos again.
Yeah, and I don't want to make excuses, but somebody did have the flu, and, I mean, they weren't Michael Jordan in that game. Not everyone could be Michael Jordan with the flu.
It's called a hangover, Hoffy. It is not the flu. It's called a hangover. When you go to the World Series game the night before in Philly and then travel to Denver the next day and you have the flu, okay, it's called a fucking hangover. Get over yourself, Patrick Mahomes. Jesus, stop drinking and driving.
It was the flu.
It was not. It is not. So Jay says number 2 or number 3 is fair. We've had our slip-ups, and I'm a hardcore Lions fan as they come. So Jay... Jay, I could easily put the Lions at number 2. I struggled to put the Eagles at number 2. I think the Lions and 49ers will end up better than the Philadelphia Eagles in the upcoming season. But right now, I think number 3 is a very, very valuable spot for them. I think they are, just good enough to be sliding by. And John, I don't want to batter your opinion there, but let's flash back to week 1, right? The Lions did beat the Kansas City Chiefs, but if you want to go that route, didn't the Seahawks beat the Lions? So therefore the Seahawks should be above them, right? Didn't the Ravens beat the Lions? So therefore the Ravens should be above the Lions.
And the Seahawks beat the Lions in Detroit.
Right. And how about this? Didn't the Eagles lose to the Jets? So therefore, the Jets should probably be a top 5 team. It doesn't make sense. John says Michael Jordan with the man bun. Jeez, this guy. All right, guys, just to recap our top 10 here, we have the Vikings coming in at number 10, the Texans at number 9, Browns at number 8, the Dolphins are at number 7, the Baltimore Ravens coming in at number 6, the Dallas Cowboys, something to respect on their name, number 5, number 4, the San Francisco 49ers, number 3, the Detroit Lions, number 2, Philadelphia Eagles, and coming in at number 1 are the Kansas City Chiefs. Hoffy, any closing thoughts before we head out?
Yeah, John Peebles is still on one here. Did you see the holding? I can send the pic of the tackle holding Hutchinson.
Oh, here we go. John, aren't you a Raiders fan? Sit us out, Huffy.
Man, our nation, rise up.